morning, everyone. This is Kathy Mason from MasonWorks Marketing here on Conscious Business Zone with my friends Connie and Andrew. Hi, guys. How are you? So these are two of my friends that all have three names, and they each have different names. So it's Connie Baxter Marlow and Andrew Cameron Bailey. Yeah. So they make you work at remembering all of those names. At least they're not hyphenated. But anyway, if you want to learn about the opportunity to go from where we are in this current state of affairs to the road of happiness, you want to know about Connie and Andrew's work. The way I learned about them first was through the trust frequency. And the trust frequency, we'll get to talk a little bit about it, but this book is a monumental gift to humanity to allow us to see a road from our assumptions and our programming to choosing a different state of being by picking this frequency instead of the fear frequency. Correct?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, and I'm getting chills. You guys, I just love you, and I so honor and respect the dedication that you have put forward in your life since I've known you over 10 years, at getting this word out, getting people to understand in ways that they can what the mystics have been telling us, what the philosophers have been telling us since the dawning of time, that we have the opportunity to create the world we want. So what I want is I'm hoping that I'm going to let you take it away to explain the beginnings of this, because well, it's a sacred mission for sure, but it's also a gift that you recognized when you combine both of your worldviews and talents. So I'll just I'll just ask for the story behind how this all started. Okay.
Sure.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So who wants to start?
I do believe we're on.
We're on.
You better begin. You're good at talking.
Yes, indeed. And you're good at the science behind it all. And so, yeah, for me, it all started with my soul's journey, that the paradigm I was growing up in didn't work for me because it couldn't prove everything. And we were out of balance. I'm in my mid 70s now. And I went looking for the missing pieces of the paradigm and went to Europe looking for it. And then visionary elders came into my life because the European paradigm is the same as ours. So visionary elders came into my life. And through them, I saw another way of being. A connection to the sacredness and oneness of all life, that the trees talk, that they have spirit, that rocks talk, and all that. And so I saw a paradigm, and I called it the trust frequency. And Andrew came into my life and brought his visions and knowledge from so many paths that he'd been on. So
yeah, and we got engaged immediately. That was 20 years ago. We just got married, so that's still on the honeymoon phase.
Yeah,
which is exciting for me. This whole adventure began. I would date it to when I was 14 years old. I was a kid growing up in South Africa, and I had a genius level classmate named Barry Oliver Higgs, another three named person, who showed up with he was extraordinary. He was literally the first true genius I ever met in my life. I met a few, and he was the first and one of the most amazing. And he introduced me, among many other things, to Buddhism, to Zen Buddhism. How about that? He introduced me to another very strange American form of Zen Buddhism, which was Jack Kerouac and On the Road and those guys. Because the Dharma bums, they got into that. So they introduced the world to these extraordinary Eastern phenomena. So I took an interest from that moment onwards. And it was a certain amount of literature, a certain amount of fiction. And then as I became a chemistry, physics, math graduate at the university, and then became a teacher, a lecturer in organic chemistry mostly.
And this is in South Africa.
This is in South Africa. I mentioned that.
Oh, okay.
And so here I am in Durban, South Africa, during the apartheid realm, surrounded by Zulus and monkeys and beautiful subtropical place. What a wonderful place to grow up, my goodness. And in college, I suddenly realized that I was really more interested in humanity than in the sciences such as physics and chemistry. While I was interested in them, they had not got my total attention. I wanted to know what humans were all about. And I was most interested in what humans thought about their own origins. Fast forward to 2007's film, In Search of the Future, which is very much about where did we come from, we humans. And I ended up studying, I thought, this has got to have something to do with religion or anthropology. So I got involved deeply in social anthropology, the study of living human societies. And I was mostly interested in so-called primitive societies, the Bushmen of the Kalahari, the Native Americans. Right, sorry if anybody's listening from that realm, don't mean to mention or disparage anybody, but these Earth people who were in touch with a reality that we Westerners seem to have lost. Primitive, by that I mean the first comers. Prime means first. Primitive means those who haven't lost what we appear to have lost. Finally, it was the Australian Aboriginals in a course on comparative religion, where I suddenly was studying these guys and I realized that what they were saying was exactly what the quantum physicists were saying. They were saying it in a sort of very ethereal, poetic manner that was kind of difficult for an English person to actually even understand, to grok. But deeper I got into it, the more I realized these guys are speaking the same language as our most advanced cutting-edge physicists. How about that? That put me on this path that I'm on to this day.
Yeah, and when we came together, Andrew and I, we got right to work making a film. So it was long before the Trust Frequency book came into birthing in 2012. In 2004, we went to Africa, South Africa, and met with the Bushmen, whom he'd known for many years. And our film, our 2007 film, In Search of the Future, What Do the Wise Ones Know?, opens in the Kalahari with the Bushmen because Andrew had known them for so long. We were welcomed there with open arms and open hearts. So we got some extraordinary interviews with them and a trance dance that opens our film, which you'll see in the trailer. We're going to play the trailer of our first film. And we were talking with elders that we had known for 20 to 40 years, scientists and futurists that we'd known for so long.
And native elders.
And native elders,
yeah.
That we'd known for so long. And they're saying things in this first film that they don't say normally to just anybody. So our first film, In Search of the Future, What Do the Wise Ones Know?, has some very important information and is really a companion piece to our book that came out later. So we've been interested in working in consciousness, the shift in consciousness, all our lives, basically. And it's taken the form of a couple of books. Andrew's also written a novel called The Mayflower Revelations, because we do a tremendous amount of work with the founding of this nation, the United States, and the realization of the promise America made to the world of liberty, justice, and equality, and abundance for all, the true American dream. So we do a lot of work with that, and we've made a film called Seeds of Freedom.
And the contribution, I just want to drop this in, of the Native Americans to that process.
Yeah, absolutely.
About.
Yeah,
critical, central to our
everything we do
perspective.
is bringing the indigenous knowledge, the cosmology, that heart-centered connection that we're waking up to now. And they've been holding that connection for all of humanity for this time. And the environmental crisis has brought us closer to the Native people. We're like, hey, this didn't work, this paradigm. the materialistic reductionist paradigm. Hey, guess what? It didn't work. And it's not okay what's going on. And hey, you've got something that we need, that humanity needs. And that's that heart connection to all of creation, to the cosmos. So, and now the new science is proving what they've known, that we are one, that it's a fractal holographic universe, that we affect the stars. We are star people. We come from the stars, and the extraterrestrials that are coming now, because we're raising our vibration, we're starting to get into that place where we can communicate now with the rest of creation, the trees and the rocks. It's so exciting. And so the work that we do with our films is to bring that to the world and to bring that knowledge to the world. So our current film, you want to talk about our current film?
Yeah, our current film came right hard on the heels of the first one, which premiered at the Harmony Festival, Santa Rosa, California, in the summer of 2007. And by early 2008, we had already filmed a number of interviews for the sequel, for the follow-up. We had developed it. We had an executive summary. We had described it. We were beginning to think about fundraising. As we toured with the first film, we were actually shooting interviews for the second film, an efficient way of doing it. However, what happened to that film is we had, in the interim, purchased some property in Sedona, Arizona, opened a retreat center to to spread these ideas, these words, to examine these.
Each room in this.
We had a term for what was it called? A beautiful term, like for evolutionary ideas, a forum for evolutionary ideas. Okay, this is what we're doing. However, we got trapped in the whole foreclosure crisis when the banks suddenly pulled the plug and millions of people started losing their homes and fighting the banks and all that stuff. We then moved into making a film on that subject called
Cops and Robbers versus the People, the death and rebirth of the American dream, because we saw it as this cleansing time where the judges and the system was going to show up for what they went into office to do, which was bring forth this true American dream, not the materialistic one, but the true one. And so we got set about that film, and we did a lot of interviews. Andrew was in court defending our properties. He became the top pro se litigant, self-represented litigant for that foreclosure defense movement that was going on.
I still love the title, Cops and Robbers. The cops and the robbers got together against the people. We, the people, now had to fight the cops and the robbers because they were partners in crime.
Yeah.
Whoa, so that kind of an interesting concept.
But ultimately,
we couldn't find a happy ending.
It wasn't happening.
We spent 4 or 5 years fighting in court, traveling and interviewing other people in similar situations, attending seminars and conferences on what's behind this whole thing, what could be done about it. And finally, everybody lost their properties, including us. Yeah. So that was a big deal. It took a lot of attention all the way into that started in 2008 when Lehman Brothers crashed and became a global phenomenon. And man, the echoes are still with us.
We do have a YouTube channel called Foreclosure Free, where we have a lot of the interviews and stuff that we did at that time. Yeah. But America is in process, everybody. So we're going to do this thing. And it's up to each of us. You know, the U.S., it's up to us to take America and humanity to the next level, which is what this current film is about.
So how did this current film get started now? Because it was on a back burner, right? It was on the top shelf up there. And it was sitting there ready to go. Then a magical thing occurred. This young lady on my left agreed to marry me, or demanded that I marry her, or she made an honest man of me, or something like that. So
none of the above. It was a shotgun wedding, and my daughter was holding the shotgun.
She said, "You can call, and if one of you dies, the other's in trouble. Okay, we'll go there." So she was holding the shotgun. She was not pregnant. We tried hard, but it didn't work. So, damn.
And he's turning 80. I'm 76. He's turning 80 in the fall.
Yeah. So the question is, we're married on Christmas Eve. And then the question is, okay, what about the honeymoon? And Connie comes up with this very interesting idea. She said, you've always wanted to go to Australia. And I went, ding, Australia. I have family there. I have best friends from South Africa there. I have a long history with Australia, but I've never actually been either to Australia or New Zealand. And I happen to have some travel miles left over from business from a long time ago where we could actually get on a plane and get ourselves there. So Connie says, why don't we go to Australia for the honeymoon? And then, oh, hang on. In Search of the Future 2, the first one opened in the Kalahari with the Bushmen, the world's oldest people, the oldest continuously living community. You can still go and meet them in Africa. And the other one in that category are the original people of Australia. So this film opens in Australia. We wrote that back in 2008.
Yes, that was the intent
So here's
all
this
along.
idea. Okay, it's a honeymoon, but it's a working honeymoon. It's a working vacation. We're going to go to Australia and shoot the opening of this film. But before we do that, we're going to start traveling and capturing interviews for the new film.
Which we have done.
Which we have done. We've got almost 60 interviews in the can right now.
Wow.
For that, on the subject of visions for the future. Humanity is in a serious crisis. We face a whole collection, not just a crisis like climate or war or whatever it might be, a whole cluster of very, very serious existential crises that taken together means we've really, really got to wake up if we're going to make it.
And the only way out is up.
So the subtitle of the film is The Only Way Out is Up, capital U, capital P, exclamation, to a higher level of consciousness. So that's what we're looking to do here. Or that's what we're in the middle of doing here.
Yes.
I personally, Kathy, sorry.
Oh, that's right. I just wanted to echo how wonderful this is, because the positivity, the action taking and the positivity is giving people something to do rather than just complain about it. And the other thing is, I wanted to say that when I was talking to Connie yesterday, I was saying something about past history. And I guess I was, in my mind, I was like dividing humanity and blaming this one group or another for the situation we're in. And Connie, do you want to share about that? Because that, I think that is so healing, the concept that you have. Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, because right now we're demonizing people from certain races for our what's going on. And what I'm saying is that we have been influenced by a lower frequency. All races, all colors of man have been influenced by a lower frequency, and the human history has not been a pretty one, as far as people conquering other people, people torturing other people, people having slave trades. I mean, it's been universal through all colors: white, red, yellow, black. So it's time to recognize that and own our shadows, each of us, each race, each color, to own our shadow, step forward and say, oh yeah, yep, that's true. Yep, we are on a even playing field. And now it's time, because the earth is in a higher frequency. We're hearing that from many fronts, that the frequency is rising, and we're being pulled into a new way of being. And we can let that ice around our hearts that came from that, all that stuff we were doing to each other, we can let that ice melt, and we can open our hearts and go forward together in this oneness, in what is being proven and shown and felt now, that we are one, and that it's the common ground of all of us, with all of creation, not just humanity, but
Right.
the trees and the rocks and the star people and the people from other galaxies, etc. I mean, it's all very exciting what's going on.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, it is.
so our film, what we're doing with this film is giving voice to that universal knowing that we're going somewhere, and to give people courage to trust And that's where our book, The Trust Frequency, comes in, to trust a conscious, loving universe.
Right.
You know, some people call the conscious, loving universe God. So trust, you know, in God we trust. The whole thing on our currency, you know, the whole currency of the United States carries such esoteric messages. And so that's what we're bringing with all our work, is that courage to now let go of the trauma. And we're actually working with a pioneer in quantum realities that this IRT, she calls it, Mrs. Maureen Edwardson. We're actually doing an online course with her. There are now healing modalities. There are modalities. I won't even say healing because it's accessing our quantum selves, our essential quantum selves, and letting go of trauma, letting go of sickness, of physical disabilities, etc. There's a whole new world opening for us. And if anyone's curious about Maureen, you can go to maureenedwardson.com and check out what she's doing and what we're doing together. She clears the track for the trust train. She gets the baggage all out of the way so we can take in the fact that, guess what? There's only love.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Well, I want to also make sure that people realize that your documentation of the indigenous philosophies and the way that you put it together makes it usable for us. So it's not just a history lesson, it's actually an overview, which in my mind, it's like the current mindset is this small cup, and your mindset is the football stadium. It's looking at the perspective of what's here from that higher perspective, which allows you to choose and be a co-creator with it rather than a victim of it. When you're in this little container, you don't have many choices. You have to go with the old program or not exist. And that's what the fear is the fear that we've been under. And it was before the pandemic. It was before all of that. We've been stuck in a illusion that was supposed to make us happy. And it never was designed to make us happy.
Well, I don't think it was, I don't go to it was designed.
Okay.
No.
I know you're going to correct me.
You know, because that starts of pointing fingers and this and that. And
right. Okay.
I look at that paradigm, the materialistic reductionist paradigm, as the last impetus to get us out of that low frequency. And it took us on the fast track with the Industrial Revolution, and now all the pollution and everything. So to me, it all serves the coming of peace on earth and heaven on earth. There's nothing else. There never has been, there never will be. It's all this process that we're in for the rest of creation. We've been transmuting these energies of fear, separation, scarcity, and we've done a great job. And so now it's time to graduate. We've done it. Let's go. But we've got to choose it. We've got to walk.
That's perfect.
That's the thing. We've got to walk it and bring it into the physical with our free will choices. And that's the challenge.
Yeah.
With our film In Search of the Future, the only way out is up, is intended to do. And we're really lucky that we've gotten some lovely sponsorship for it. Someone's gifted us a ticket, air miles for my ticket. Andrew, as he mentioned, has air miles for his ticket, and Emmanuel Kunzelman and Laura Rose have put through their Foundation for the Future that they founded in 1995.
Right, 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that was when I was getting all the downloads, and I started really my I don't want to say career, my life journey in bringing this indigenous cosmology into the world through these visionary elders, etc., that I've been creating forums for decades. That was that time, the 90s, the mid 90s was such a time And it's so cool that they're founded their foundation for the future.
Yeah.
So they've given us a generous donation. So it looks like we're going, but we're still we've got a lot of money we still have to raise to get to Australia.
It's not cheap to do these things. The previous film, at the time of making the previous one, we actually had some money.
Yeah.
And it's still, and nobody got paid. We didn't get paid. I had travel tickets, so the travel didn't cost us money. All we needed was gasoline, fuel for travel in the United States to get over to Africa and wherever else we were, and to get around, and accommodation and so on. And it would have been about a $250,000 budget. And we probably did it for 20,000 maybe.
Yeah, who knows?
So amazing. So point being, we're really good at getting the job done no matter what. This is something we're doing no matter what. If we have no budget at all, we'll sit here in the studio and we'll do it anyway.
Yeah.
One way or another, we can animate it. We can, have Zoom interviews with people.
As far as bringing in the Aboriginals, because
Yeah.
that's a key piece.
I'd like to make a
Of course.
suggestion, Kathy. What if we watched the 3-minute trailer for the
Okay.
first film?
Okay.
In Search of the Future, What Do the Wise Ones Know? And you'll get a glimpse of this extraordinary cast of friends who agreed to come in on that film. And then I'd like to talk a little more technically and inspirationally about the second film, where it's at right now, what the intentions are with creating it using AI, among other things, in terms of the editing. It's going to be an outrageously visually compelling film, I do believe. And this is something I'm all excited about.
Okay, so I'm gonna play the trailer now, and then please just keep directing me. I'm happy to serve that way.
Thanks, Kathy. You've seen the film, What the Bleep Do We Know? You've seen The Secret. Are you ready for the next step? In Search of the Future. Where did we come from? Where are we going? What do the wise ones know?
You don't get a future automatically because most species are extinct. And our species certainly seems to be approaching extinction.
Many people have been concentrating on the Mayan calendar, which we all know ends December the 21st, 2012.
The Mayan calendar predicts that in the year 2012, there will be the end of life on this earth as we know it now.
The elders I've worked with in Guatemala, they say we came from the stars, which would make us all extraterrestrial.
Este es apenas el principio de un gran descubrimiento.
This seems like the beginning of a grand worldwide discovery.
So you're saying that we are not monkeys? They're not going to become monkeys? Or we are not coming from the monkeys?
Everything out there is spiritual. This is a spiritual world, a divine world.
All things, seen and unseen things, originate from this great power.
We can't live really spiritually healthy or physically healthy or mentally healthy without love.
What could a new consciousness bring to life on this planet?
Wake up and be aware. Do something. Change your way of life.
If we believe in scarcity, if we believe in separation, we will create poverty. We will create war.
The kind of shift I'm talking about in growing up is literally strictly a change of how we think.
Where we are going is a great awakening of the magic in the human heart.
In Search of the Future. There we are. There we go. We could watch it again, but I think I'd like to talk about the new one. By the way, my next job, and we're ready to do
Here's
that.
the DVD in the days of DVDs.
And we have plenty. If anybody wants a DVD, we have a box of them, don't we?
Well, not many. I checked them.
You checked
because
them?
nobody's doing DVDs anymore.
Collector's items.
I have some in the back of the books.
There you go.
Yeah, so there were some in these books too.
Right. So Kathy, I'd like to talk a little bit about the new film.
Okay.
So you saw the trailer there, and we're about ready to make a trailer, or at least the beginnings of a trailer for the new film with what we've already shot. We already have some gems, some beautiful words of wisdom, concern, alarm, yes, and practical, uplifting visions as to what's really going on behind the scenes, perhaps, or internally, as we're this emergent species on this gorgeous planet. And there are those people out there who say, I want to live on a different planet. I just want to say something to you folks. This is a different planet. It's a very different planet. So different from any other planet we know so far. So all we know as humans is what's basically, we think we understand a lot about this planet and our species' relationship to this planet. I would say that we don't really know that yet. Give us 100 years and we'll look back and go, whoa, we were pretty ignorant back in those times, because we are. We think we know, and that's a real danger, thinking we know it all. So I literally think we're an endangered species. We've devised methods of destruction that could take us all out. We've done something to the climate that could take us all out, and on and on. So from one perspective, it's alarming. It could be depressing. It could be of great concern. And I look at things like teenage suicide, especially among the Native American population. It's terrible, the place we have arrived at. So what we're seeking here is a vision of a future in which we wake up in time, in which we actually transcend these challenges, because as with the grain of sand in the oyster, that grain of sand, that irritant in the oyster becomes the pearl. So what if this current irritant, this very irritating situation on our planet, becomes that which triggers us into a higher reality?
Perfect.
There's no what if in my world.
And Connie would stop, she would stop at the end where everything's perfect. And my ultimate philosophy is precisely everything is perfect right now. Everything's in its right place. It has been my philosophy since the early 1970s that everything is actually perfect. We're actually in the Garden of Eden. There's nothing about bringing heaven to earth. This is already heaven. We're already here. We forgot.
We're just in a different vibration.
We started
We're
behaving.
in a lower frequency.
We started behaving according to certain fundamental assumptions, which are the subject of the Trust Frequency book. If we follow those assumptions, if that's the basis of our reality, you get what we've got right now. If we change, or shall we say, when we change that, when we wake up and say, wait a minute, it's not a cold, dead, mechanical universe. It's a conscious, loving universe, just for one example. That, to me, changes everything. The moment we know we're still in the womb of the mother, but it's no longer our earthly physical mother, it's Gaia. It's the universe, the whole divine feminine that is sustaining and nurturing us.
And that divine feminine is rising in everybody. And we're nurturing it now in our men and our women, so we can get into that place that feminine energy will take us to. And so we're just thrilled to be able to contribute our piece of this puzzle.
Well, I want you to know, Francine said beautiful and profound. And also Maureen said, I believe, yes, me too, Connie and Andrew. So of course, there's a bunch of us that believe this, but what we have to know is that we were, if I feel like I'm on assignment, that we got the memo first so we could share it. And you've been sharing it in all your different ways of, hey, wake up. But the frequency right now where people are in confusion, that's what's causing I think it was a fear virus as much as any virus that we just had. So how do you feel? Because your vision of the future is like mine. I know that we're going to be just fine, that we don't really die, that we're consciousness expanded, we're a fractal of the universe expanding. And you found that the indigenous works with the quantum physics work. And so the left brain people can come along, the heart-based people can come along, the creative people have seen it, all of this. But how do we get from where we are? I mean, you're documenting in your videos, and your videos are very heart opening, or at least I'm sure the second one will be, but this video, your first video, very heart opening. There's nothing about shame on you or anything. It's about this incredible loving patience, like a mother has for a child, a toddler that's stumbling, that you'll get it. That's kind of what we're holding. How do you see us getting from this lack of awareness of our power to the powerful concept of creating that new future?
Well,
if I may,
okay.
I'd like to say that I can only speak from my personal perspective. I am about to weave as the editor of this film, I'm about to weave a tapestry. And a tapestry consists of all these threads, all these different threads, and one's red and one's green and one's purple and one's yellow and one's white and one's black, etc., etc. Here we have these threads. And there's no way I have a dream, the dream of the person who's making the tapestry. I have the big picture in some sort of vestigial form, but I don't know it yet until the weaving is complete. So what I love about this personally is I'm about to weave a tapestry that I have a feeling about what it can be, what it will be, but I can't, I'm going to refrain from defining precisely what that is, because that gives away the punchline of the movie. For one thing, it's already hinted at in the subtitle, which is the only way out is up. Clearly, it has something to do with consciousness, has something to do with wake up, activate, change our ways, as Grandmother Bertha said in that trailer you just saw. Wake up, do something.
Yeah.
So, or wake up, stop doing something.
Yeah. And to me, it's a frequency thing. It's about this shift in frequency. The laws in the different frequencies are different. As we shift frequencies, we're going to experience a whole new reality. We can't even fathom it from this little box we're in right now. And we're getting clues, like Maureen's work with the inner resonance technologies. She's healed Andrew's emphysema. Well, she hasn't healed it. She's given Andrew access to that. We even fixed our van with the IRT, a serious situation with our van. And so I want to tell you, everyone, there is so much that's possible. We have to trust it. We have to trust our hearts. We have to watch the signs, listen carefully to we have to change our point of view, because if we listen carefully and we hear all this negativity and we attach to that, then it takes us down. We have to make some choices as to where we put our attention, because our attention is what creates our reality. It creates our vibration. We actually have 7 aspects of our consciousness that create our vibratory level and thereby our reality. And they all begin with A. I could say them in one sentence. People love that sentence.
Why don't you do that?
Why don't I do that? Because it's a little toolbox for vibration. What creates our individual vibration? Regardless of what our twin sister's doing or anybody else is doing, we get to choose our reality. And here's that sentence. With expanded awareness, there's 7 of them, and they all begin with A. With expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, we choose our attitude, consciously direct our attention, align with our highest inner promptings, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond our wildest dreams. So that's our gift to you from our trust frequency construct. And what I wanted to say was about this conscious loving universe, what about the things that are not love? Okay. To get into that higher frequency, we've got to move out of duality, out of right, wrong, victim, perpetrator, good and evil. It's the hugest leap for us, our final big leap. And that is to know that it's all love. And the reason we don't understand that how war and all this can be love, all this shadow stuff, this stuff we see as not love, is because that love is unconditional. It gives us everything we ask for. And those 7 A's of consciousness are our requests because they determine our vibratory level. So it's really just physics. And so that's my point of view of how we're going to get out. There's only way out is in and up.
I want to thank you so much because that's the pathway to seeing a new future and the opportunity for people to model what you're doing. That's what I want to just honor your work so much because you've been showing the excitement of living in that field by all you have prolific creations between the books and the films and every time I saw you, I mean, I'd go up to Sunrise Ranch and you guys always had a camera in your hand and you were always you were excited to engage with reality from that higher creative perspective. So is that part of how we all can do it too? I mean, I know these words, I know what you're talking about when you say allow or the higher visions and some of the words, but I'm trying to give the audience, now a lot of the people in the audience, their hearts are wide open. They're servant leaders. They do everything they can to make the world a better place with what they do for a living. And they are totally devoted to their employees and to their customers. They do everything they can within their power. But I want to give them a pathway to this incredible life force. It's almost like a battery pack. Where when you're in that trust frequency, maybe in a business sense, you're in and out of it. But when I watch you guys, I haven't seen you out. So could you talk about that too, the access point, possibly? Because I think if they can look at your films even or read your book from that access point, it's a highly expansive opportunity.
So from my perspective, here's what I think is a very good metaphor that I think our audience will understand.
Okay.
We need an operating system upgrade.
Yep.
Who of us has not had a computer that needed that? Oftentimes we had to replace the entire machine, right? So we can't replace the entire machine. Let's ask ourselves the question, what is our current operating system? And my answer to that is that it is a set of assumptions that came to us as children. We were told stuff by our parents, by our teachers, by priests and ministers at church or synagogue, etc., etc., etc. We received very specific information by the age of 4, 5, 6, 7 years old that was profoundly, deeply imprinted on us. And I would propose that an awful lot of that information we received and took as true without question was erroneous, such as what I mentioned earlier, the first assumption in the Trust Frequency book. We live in a conscious, loving universe, not a cold, dead clockwork machine that doesn't even know we exist. That, for example, is a transformational realization when we awaken to that. And the rest of those 10 assumptions are the best we could do, the best we could come up with, sort of as our 10 commandments, if you will, for the new unfoldment, the conscious evolution of our species. What is the problem? The problem is we're running on an outdated operating system that never really worked.
Yep.
And can we reinvent that? Can we express it in some brand new way? And so we just gave an example of 10 possible ways we can bring about those transformations. If we can look at our current beliefs, because it's all about beliefs, opinions, our worldview, our paradigm, are a collective agreement to believe certain things. Can we change that? Hell yeah, of course we can. Do we have the will? Therein lies the rub. Because A, a lot of people don't know that that's the situation. B, a lot of people are very attached to their current beliefs. It's not easy. I can't walk up to you and say, hey, excuse me, your beliefs are all wrong and listen to me. Tell you what to believe. That's like the old religious dogmatic approach. No, it's got to come. And this is the last point I'm going to make. We've got approximately 8 billion people on the planet right now. And one at a time, each of us has to wake up using our own free will, our own choice, and our own timing, trusting the timing. Okay? So they say we only need about 6% of humanity to make the shift. That's not 8 billion, that's a much smaller number, but still it's a very big number. It's a billion plus, billion and a half, whatever it is, right? But as we awaken, now here's the other cool thing that gives me hope. We have new tools, such as the internet, such as Zoom, such as potentially artificial intelligence, if it is used in the best possible pro-human way. Is there the possibility that now suddenly, because as everything goes exponential, all that means is that everything happens at once. All of a sudden, the change is almost instantaneous. You have real trouble keeping up with it. If at the foundation of that, we can have a new system of a new paradigm, a new set of assumptions about our understanding of the universe and of each other and of our human potential. Think of Barbara Marx Hubbard's work, for example.
Yep.
Here we are. We can get somewhere very positive, and we're on the edge, folks. We're at the edge of the cliff, and we can either fall off the cliff or we can fly from the cliff into the new reality.
Yes, indeed. And we can just say to people, just trust.
Just trust.
With bold, committed action. Because when we do that, we shift frequencies. We listen to our hearts. We listen to the signs of the universe for our lives. And we watch, because the universe loves us. It's taking us on our journey to wholeness, our journey to bring our gift to the party. We promise to bring a gift to the party, each of us. And that unique gift is what the universe is waiting for. And so we gave permission to the loving universe to take us on this journey. And so we're seeing our shadow, we're seeing our doubts, we're seeing those parts of ourselves we don't love in our relationships. This is what our online course is about. It's called The Dance of Souls. And so we're seeing this because we are on this journey. And so it's just up to us listening to our hearts. Your people who are on this call right now are here for a reason. And people have said our book gives them words for something they've always known, but never had the words for. And the book is very simple. It's not deep, hard to read. Andrew wanted to make a pop book. He actually wrote the book. And so it's just listening now, listening to our hearts and acting accordingly. And we shift frequencies. It's not God moved mountains for people. We move the mountain when there aren't any mountains in this frequency. So we need to just go forward in trust with bold, committed action.
Well, the audience is going, yes, 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 me, 3. I believe 2. Here we go. So Maureen put, the shift from duality to oneness is a shift of perception, which I think, again, I think that that's the gift of watching your work and experiencing the work that you do, is that we can see the road to the new perception if we don't already have it. And you articulate it so beautifully. Plus there's the 10 assumptions in the trust frequency book that can guide people to see, it's the 10 assumptions. I don't want to tell anybody what's inside, But anyway, but I think what we're saying is that it's available. You don't have to go through an intermediary. You don't have to get a PhD. You just have to see the possibilities of the divine in everything. That's what namaste is. That's exactly right. So, okay. So then also Omar Fiazi, my friend, put everything is loved. Everything is love.
Hey, Omar.
Yeah.
We resolve that paradox.
That's it. That's
because
the key.
people are saying that and getting that, but then they feel victimized. Then they see all the horrible things that are going on and not understanding that, in fact, that is love, because we are loved so much. We're given what we ask for. And if we are in scarcity and feel and create that paradigm, we have to fight with someone to get more so that we can survive all that fear-based energy.
Yeah.
So we have to see that's we've created that with our thinking, with our response to that lower frequency. And what we have to really get is that the earth is in a higher frequency now. We're being pulled forward, up and out and into our hearts and into the love that we're carrying in our hearts, that human love of compassion, kindness, empathy, those things. Because this other big love with a capital L is the unifying force of the universe, is everything. Right. And it's calling forth this very special love that we've been carrying in our hearts. And so all of creation is awaiting the opening of the human heart and the release of that love.
Yay.
So
that feels so good. I mean, seriously, do you want to feel good or bad? This feels fantastic. And it's a jumping off point to get into a joyful future in every way. Because when you're working from that part of your soul, that part of your existence, the options and the problem solving opportunities are out of this world. From this little world, problem solving is very difficult. But from this big world, you have so many resources, and you attract the resources out of nowhere, right?
Right, absolutely.
Right. So Teresa put just trust with bold, committed action. Yes. So that's the other part. You did mention Barbara Marx Hubbard a couple of times, and both of us are still fans of her work. And she really was an innovator in the activities of sharing what you know. That I was just so amazed at her articulation of it, even almost at 90 years old, how brilliantly she could just go straight into her concepts and share them beautifully. And that's what I see. I see you guys following in her footsteps. And I just want to acknowledge that, because I know you loved her very much, but that opportunity for each one of us every day to see how do I serve? How is this all for me, not against me? How do I make this place a better place, seeing the best scenario in everything rather than the worst case scenario? I mean, there's so many aspects of all of this, right?
Well, everyone has their role to play. Okay. My role is to hold what I see and what I know. And I'm a reporter. I was told, your name is Eagle Woman. It is your job to fly very high and report back all that you see. So I'm a reporter. I see something, I know something. That's my job, to stay there and be that and do that. But everyone has their role to play. So whatever level anybody's on, whatever one perceives that needs to be done from that perspective, it's important to do that, and to do that with pride and with knowing that we each have a role to play. and that tapestry that Andrew's talking about is a result of all the gifts that we all have to bring to the party. It's just important, however, to keep an eye on that vibratory level. The words we use, the actions we take, where we put our attention. It's just really key to know that it's physics and that we're feeding a collective consciousness with our words, with our thoughts, with our actions.
Perfect.
So it's just a key piece to keep in mind.
So I have a question about it for Andrew. Well, for both of you, how do you know when you're done? In so many art forms, it's like a painter will go, oh, I'll add a little more later. Or, I mean, how do you know when the film is done? How do you know when the book is done?
Yeah, when you're totally and completely exhausted. Because it can always be different. It can always be more. So the challenge as an author, as a writer, or as a filmmaker, an editor, is that you're so immersed in the details, in getting every little transition, every turn of phrase perfect, that it's really hard to step back and get the big picture as though you've never seen this thing before. Unless you put it on a back burner for 5 years and come back and look then, but we can't do that. We've got to get this thing done and out, right? So really, that's the hardest thing. What we did with the first film is we shared it with a bunch of people. We had a whole bunch of screenings, invited people. We were in Sedona. We invited 10 or 12 people, come over and watch our current cut.
Uh-huh.
And, you know, I remember we were doing that once in New York in the Hamptons, and a really beloved friend of ours said, she gave a really good comment. In the middle, she didn't even wait for the end. She said, is this the longest documentary ever? That was deflating.
Have to kill your babies.
Yep. Yeah, so kill your babies.
That's a terrible expression.
That's a terrible expression, but for filmmakers, you've got these things you're so attached to. They're your babies. You love them. You nurture them. You want them to see the light of day. And they end up on the cutting room floor.
Well, I've been part of those screenings before. When Jay Wilder did the Last Avatar, we had 2 parties where we had a bunch of people watch it, and we all took notes. And then I got the honor of delivering the information. I don't think he was really happy with me, but the movie's that much better. It really makes a difference. Given other eyes.
Yeah. So in this particular film, they're very, very short. They're not long, rambling interviews. In some cases, people just go, they open their mouths and off they go, and you can't stop them. And 12 minutes later, it's like, okay, you know, and these are going to be little gems, 2 to 3 minutes mostly.
Beautiful.
Unless they're absolutely pristine. And some of them are. Some of them have reduced us to tears. We've all ended up like, I'm trying to look at the screen of the camera and I can't see a thing because my eyes are totally blurred with tears. And I look around and one of our assistants is standing there with tears streaming down her face. You know you're on it, and that gets special dispensation. But the idea is there's just these gems. Everybody's going to be eye contact. Everybody's going to be giving you a direct hit, eye to eye. And they're going to be woven. The part of the AI thing is that the transitions between each person are going to be so physically, or visually compelling and beautiful, with the emphasis on the beautiful. There's not going to be any ugliness in this film. It's just going to be beauty, because that's what opens the heart.
Right.
When our hearts are open, guess what? We can actually see a different reality, which we can't see when our hearts are closed. Of course not. Right? When we're defended, we stick to what we believe, what we think we know. When we're blown open, change has a chance to sneak in.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So do you actually consciously put the trust frequency in to the film? I'm asking as an alchemist. Do you actually put the energy in consciously, or it's just as you're making it, you are in that space, so it's that creation?
The answer to that, from my perspective, is no. If I'm interviewing you, Cassie, I want a gem from you. I don't want to influence that.
No, I meant when you piece it together, the end. result.
No, there is no sort of agenda other than to discover, is there some collective vision
Okay.
that can emerge from 50 or 60 different people who you'll see in an hour with something to say that adds up to something that's this tapestry that not only gives you hope, it gives you action steps. It's like, oh, now I know what to do, because we actually have to do or undo or stop doing something or run into trouble.
And it's also to inspire.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what we're asking people is, okay, what is your gift that can catalyze and inspire? Because it's inspiration that takes us up into a higher frequency. We have an insight, we have an inspiration, and then to give people the courage to act on that inspiration.
Perfect.
Okay, because it's the action that takes us into the frequency. We can't just think it. We just can't wish it. We can't hope for it. Hope has a hole in it. Okay, we have to trust it enough to act and trust our hearts, trust our knowing, and go for it, because the systems are collapsing. We can't depend on the systems that have told us, oh yeah, this is abundance, all this stuff we have. You know, that's not the abundant universe. The abundant universe is love, is kindness, is enough, but we don't need more. Then, you know, in the native way is, yeah, we take what we need because we know there's more tomorrow.
Right.
That trust. We don't hoard. We give away. That's what I saw through these native elders who came into my life in the native ways of being. Just the giveaway. You know, if someone says, "Oh, I like your necklace," I say, "Oh, I understand. It's your turn." Because in that way, there's no possessions. John Lennon wrote, "Imagine no possessions." Well, that's what it is. We don't own anything.
Right.
We are custodians of it, of the land, of the stuff in our lives. You know, it's very important shift into the giveaway, and out of hoarding.
That's
giveaway.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much. And thank you both. So I have been putting the links, and I put the link for the GoFundMe in the chat, and I'll make sure that it's all there. But is there what we need to wrap up? So is that I want to make sure that people know how to reach you and stay tuned. And if they can, donate to your GoFundMe project, because you can see anyone that is in this audience knows that we're here to create a better world. And the indigenous say you consider everything 7 generations. Well, that's what this project and what these beautiful beings have been doing will help 7 generations from now. So our species, the continuation of our species even. So I just want to make sure that people know how best to get a hold of you, please.
Google us, you'll find us. That's seriously, you can't escape these days. And secondly, trust@thetrustfrequency.net is a useful resource that will thetrustfrequency.net is the website, right? And trust@thetrustfrequency.net is an email for us, right?
Okay.
We both received that.
And we have a link tree slash link linktr.ee.
Kathy was going to put that in the chat, I think.
Slash Connie and Andrew. That give you access to everything, including our GoFundMe. And our GoFundMe, you can access through a bit.ly, bit, https, bit.ly/honeymoon film adventure.
I love it.
Honeymoon film adventure.
So if anybody would like to come along on a honeymoon film adventure, you can either come along in person or send a donation so we can do it, because we're going to be beaming back all kinds of imagery and stories and tales and videos. It's already fun.
Well, thank you so much. And I will make sure that all the links are available so everyone, no matter where they're watching this, are able to participate. And I just want to honor and thank you so much. I have so much appreciation and gratitude for what you do and who you are. And I feel blessed that I get to know you.
Oh,
Oh,
Kathy,
thank you, Kathy.
it's been so great to know
Yeah,
you, and
yeah.
thank you for having us on the show and what you've brought to it with your questions and your insights and who you are.
To
So,
everybody
thank you.
listening and watching, 4 words: trust the loving universe. It's all you've got to do.
With
Trust
bold, committed action.
Yes,
the
there's the Barbara part. Yes, thank you guys. Thank you so much. We'll have to do it again. That it just wasn't long enough. Thank you
so much, Kathy.
Yeah, bless you.